So today then we're going to chat to a guy, Bert Monteith. I've known Bert for a number of years now. I don't know, 5, 6 years at least anyway. And as everyone knows, I am a avid hater of diesels, and Bert is far from this, so it should be an interesting conversation. So I think we'll have Bert in now. Let me see. Wait and see does he accept. Bart, how's it going?
Not too bad, Connor. How are you?
All good, all good. Well, apart from the fact that I'm bald and roasted.
That's fantastic. Fantastic weather today.
Oh, it's brilliant, yeah. I spent the day pulling the engine out of a 6M2 GTI, and it wasn't graceful. Like, it was unbolted the engine mounts with a trolley underneath it and just let it fall. So,
I did notice that the wee trolley under it. I wondered what it was earlier.
yeah, it
Did
was
you
to
say?
stop it breaking the concrete, essentially. Oh,
Some
dear.
job, some job.
So, I suppose we should start by saying congratulations. You and Lucinda got married there last Monday, was it?
Monday, yeah, Monday
Very
passed.
good. So,
So,
and shockingly, you got good Northern Ireland weather for it anyway.
oh, it was fantastic. Could not believe it. It,
Yeah, it
yeah,
had been good, and then it started to turn bad. And Lee and I were saying it was like, oh no, typical. You're going to have an outside wedding, and then suddenly it gets good. That's good.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
you've been working at the Mk5 then for the wedding in particular.
Yeah, it was sort of the lead up to it. We'd came home from traveling, and then we'd come home obviously a wee bit earlier. So
Yeah,
what more can you do? And started just get stuck into some of the projects, and it was then the end goal just to get it to the wedding as such. So
yeah.
it made it.
And you guys were traveling pretty much all around the world. Was it? What sort of places did you go to?
Yeah, basically all of Asia. Um, um, got China, New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam,
Yeah,
India, and then we got to Turkey, and then we had to shift on home.
yeah. COVID,
So
COVID struck.
yeah, COVID struck. So
Lovely.
we were lucky we got home when we did.
Yes.
Disappointing we didn't get the rest of the trip, but
Hmm.
better safe than sorry.
Yeah, definitely. It's for the best. When you were away, did you miss the cars at all, or was it sort of
Yeah,
distraction?
the only time we actually got driving was in New Zealand. We'd had hired a camper van, so that was the only time we actually got driving. And then you started the podcast, and it was actually really nice to listen bits and pieces from home and bits and pieces about cars, and you've quite a
Hear
lot
it.
of time. Yeah, you've quite a lot of time in your hands, so you can sort of sit and think, oh, I could love to do this, love to be doing that. So it
Oh, that's good.
yeah,
Uh,
it was good.
we can track like where our listeners and stuff are from through the app where we upload through, and it was these weird places were coming up, and I was like, who is listening here? And then it was only when I caught on, I put two and two together. I was like, that's Bert, yeah.
Yeah, I know, because I know Ian was in New Zealand at the time, and then Aaron's obviously in um, um,
Australia.
Australia there. So it,
Yeah, there's a lot of competition for who was the furthest away.
yeah, yeah,
So, do you want to show us around your Mark 5 then?
yeah, absolutely. I'll beside me here. Um, Mark
This was
five.
a this was once a staple of the Northern Ireland show scene,
Yeah,
and a quite a different format. I will say though, it was a different color.
it was a Lamborghini white at the start, and then this is now um Daytona Gray.
Okay, yeah, is that an
Um,
Audi color?
yes, it's an Audi color. It's normally on the RS, so it's matte lacquer on it. You don't really see the metallic in it as such,
Hmm.
with it being matte. So I was quite disappointed seeing it matte because when it's gloss, it's just so much more vibrant
Yeah,
and so much more nice. So like we've
it's probably one of those things though you don't realize you're noticing it. If that car hadn't got the metallic but still had the satin or matte lacquer on it, it wouldn't look half as good as it does.
well, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
And you do all the work yourself, don't you? The body work?
All the body work myself. So yeah, most of it's been built by myself with Cindy giving me a helping hand.
Is there
So
very like me and myself in that regard? And am I right in saying you've no body work training?
no official training. Sort of
Yeah.
picked it up and just went along the way and just bits and pieces. And there was good friends that were actually in trade as such. So nice pointers and bits and pieces from them, and
Yeah.
it just went from there as such now. So
And looks
yeah.
like a GTI, but isn't. There's
No,
see that
yeah,
a GTI US bumper.
GTI US bumper, and then the GTI US back in the rear as well.
Uh-huh.
So with that going on, we had initially the R32, the custom, then shortened plate down on it.
Hmm.
But I wanted to keep it more standard looking as such rather than mismatched front and back. I know it's not
Yeah.
a GTI, that's sort of what I'd liked on the Mark 5s at the time.
Hmm. No.
It was sort of bought basically to just be stripped down and built
Hmm.
when I initially bought it. So it's just been an ongoing project for the last 10 or 11 years as such. So
Yeah. You're again like myself, don't get rid of things too often.
no, no, you can sort of see the Audi V6 3 liter TDI at the background there. I need to put a
Take
clutch in it, so it's just been tucked away.
Excellent.
So
And keep it on the exterior then, tucked in under the arches there. Are those Super RSs?
Super RSs. I'll go to this other one because that one's a dent on that arch, and I need to paint it. So,
Uh,
um,
19s, I'm assuming?
18s,
18.
18s. I picked these up a number of years ago off Stuart over in Scotland, I believe he said.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I know the exact wheels you're on about then. They were on a
Yeah,
Mark 5 as well.
yeah. Actually, Grant brought them over. He was going to Dub Shed, I think, one year, and he I was very lucky. He was coming over, and he brought them over, so it was very appreciative of
It's excellent to see Grant
Grant
on
bringing
there
them
too.
over. Good.
And Super
So
RSs are an odd one. I would say there's not a lot of them in the country. They used to be a very big thing in America, but you don't see that many of them now.
no, no, I've a couple of dishes and barrels to get these ones stripped and built. Um, Fronts at the minute are 8 inch and the rears are 9.
Hmm.
So I think from my calculations, the rear should be about 10, and the
Okay.
fronts then these ones will probably just go up to the front, be about 9s hopefully. But
And are you hoping to run a wider tire on it?
these ones are 215 35 and a 9.
Mhm.
I've ran a 205 35 on a 9 before, so potentially go for more stretch to get the lip tucked in.
Okay.
Um,
They're obviously not your
but
racing wheels then.
oh no.
No.
These will only be for shows. You know, I've actually the comp motives sitting up there just to be painted. So, um,
Oh, yeah,
we'll get
they're
them.
meant to be ready for paint.
Yeah. So we'll get them. We'll get them back on, and get these BBSs off to get them built. So it'll be good.
And going by the stance, obviously, it's still on airbags.
Yeah. Backyard, airbags all around. Um, geez, they're a number of
Backyard,
years.
a name I haven't heard in a long time as well.
Yeah. So we've got them in the Supremes at the front, and then I changed the struts at the rear to actually the Airlift Slam series, I think they are.
Okay.
So the that's the only change really in the suspension wise.
Very good. And still a good job.
Still a fantastic job, absolutely fantastic way to handle. It was completely different really at the time. There was Raven sort of going about at the time, and these just were the performance of them was phenomenal compared to the bags at the time. I think have come leaps and bounds on now for what they were.
Yeah, there's a lot of people they'll talk shit about bags, and they're if they have driven on them, it's more than likely the old like Revern two-way kits, which back in the day were fine if that's what was available. But for now, like there's no excuse for a bag car not handling well.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And what about the
Um,
interior then, wise? Can we move on to it?
I don't think there's much more exterior apart from the suspension wise with poly bushes, Black Series all around, um, power
I,
flex and bits and pieces, anti-roll bars and stuff. So,
I imagine when
uh,
we lift the bonnet, we'll see why.
yes, yeah. Um, we've got wingbacks, R32 wingbacks.
Mhm.
Through a gear knob in there not long ago. It was actually just when it came back. Mark 6 GTI and then a Mark 6 GTI steering wheel as well.
Uh-huh.
And everything then is trimmed in red leather.
Like literally everything.
Yeah, literally everything. Um,
That's that's one thing I always liked about that car was even against the red and against the grey, the interior really pops. Where if it was say if it was a blue car or anything, it would look out of place, but because they're kind of neutral colors, it really jumps against it.
yes, yeah. It's quite lucky that way. I mean, it's extremely hard to keep clean.
Yeah,
Um, but
it's not interior for me.
no, yeah, there's a lot of work in it. It was my original goal as such. I'd always envisaged it, so I sort of went on it, and there was a few wee changes to it, but um, yeah, I mean, it's worked out. It's worked out well. It's lovely, but
Yeah,
it's
and
just
with the likes of the trim dash and things like that, was it? Did you refit the stuff or did the Arc do it?
no everything. I had the whole thing initially when I bought this. The whole thing was stripped within the week. It was
Hmm.
just really a shell. So there's bits and pieces brought up to him just to retrim. It was quite hard just to picture exactly what each person wanted. He wanted to do something else. I wanted this, and then sort of the language barrier there as well. So
Yeah, I've a few friends have dealt with them. I've been there, and it's tough going to get exactly down what you need.
yeah,
Uh,
oh yeah,
and how do you find refitting the dash parts? Because a few guys I know, and I helped Matt with his Mark II with a trim dash, and even Connor Old with his BM said refitting the dash parts was really difficult.
yeah. Everything, it's the parts are meant to be fitted without leather on it,
Yeah.
and then when you put leather on it, it's just that wee bit harder to
Hmm.
get in. Luckily at the time the window screen was out,
Hmm.
so that helped. Um, so all in all, it wasn't too bad. I think it was a lot of few late nights leading up to edition at the time.
Yeah,
So it was a bit of cursing, but it was worth it at the end. To be fair,
definitely.
anyway.
No,
So
I see Robin even saying there, he says this was and still is an incredible interior build. So it was always something that was known around the show scene.
yeah, yeah, it was at the time. There wasn't a lot done. Um, so it was quite a colossal, and still is quite a colossal amount of interior.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot going on there.
yeah.
Um, I see now we're in under the bonnet, my nemesis.
Got the bonnet. Excuse some of the pipework and stuff. It's a working project at the minute. We're going up to get it mapped tomorrow. So after that, then I can start working on the pipework and getting it tidied up a wee bit. Um,
So this started life as a 109, or sorry, 1.9 105 brake TDI, right?
that's correct. Yeah.
And you recently got a map on it there for like a base map, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
And what did it make?
280 horsepower.
Lovely.
For the base map. I think 400 foot-pounds of torque or something along those lines. Anyway.
And I know diesels are strong, but is there any internal work done to run that safely, or what's the story with it?
Well, this is actually its second engine.
Yeah.
The As you see the parts gathered over there, I have two engines sitting, and then a number of bits and pieces um, that we've blown up as such.
Yep. It's good to
Um,
have spares.
yeah. At the minute, it's not running any supporting mods internally. It's a 130 PD crank, and what have I put? What is the head? It is a standard 105 head. It actually seemed to flow a bit better than the Mark IV.
Okay, right.
So we have that on with the minute with the 10mm lift cam. At the minute, the rods are standard and the pistons are standard.
That's impressive.
When we go a bit more power, we starting to look at the rods.
Yeah.
It was the weakest link before. It blew up. It was I can't remember what bar it was at, and she popped. Rod came out of the back of the block.
Nice.
So that was that.
not a great day.
No, it was a strange day, but we got another engine within 24 hours, and it was back out again. But
that's one good thing about them, though. They're in they're in plentiful supply. You know, those 109s, they're everywhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And what sort of turbo are you running on that?
What, sorry?
What's the turbo you're running to get that sort of power?
It is a GTB. It was initially a 2260. I don't even think we can see it down in there. You can sort of see the tubular manifold. It's now a 2266.
Okay.
So it's obviously coming in a wee bit later than the 2260.
Yeah.
It should make more power. This was running about 300 before. But we will see. We'll see what it makes. Obviously, with cam in it too, I would rather run right, and then worry about maybe bits and pieces later on.
Yeah.
Not after really. Yeah, it's not.
Drivetrain wise though, like that's serious torque you're putting out. Never mind the horsepower. Is it a standard box, or have you diff or any upgraded internals in it?
Yeah. Well, for the actual gearbox, we have an 02Q gearbox, 6-speed in it.
Yeah.
Paul up at TubTech has had rebuilt this twice now.
Okay.
So if it goes again, we're going to have to maybe look at the gearing and getting it strengthened in some way. But apart from that, with wave track diff in the gearbox, there is strengthened shifter forks. I think they're all strengthened to first, second, third, fourth. Yeah, they should be all strengthened. So at the minute, it's running well and everything seems to be good. But it's just when we then hit it to the drag track and take a couple of launches with it, see how it withstands. So,
yeah, that'll be the test of it.
Yeah. I mean, I had the compo motors on with the 888 2.0 tires, and it's still hard to keep the torque down.
That's ridiculous. Oh, we're losing Bert there, are we? Let's double check my signal here. I don't think it's me. Nope. Can you hear us, Bert? Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry, I lost you there.
Good job. No, it's good.
Yeah, so we lost you just, you were saying there about the Toyos. You were, even with the Toyos on, you're struggling to put power down.
Yeah, it's just constantly spins. So it's just trying to, well, with the turbo coming in a wee bit later now, I haven't had a good proper run out in it, so we'll see. We'll see what way she performs. Hopefully, with a good map on it tomorrow, all being well.
Yeah, it's
we'll go from there.
Sorry, coming in later should be better on the box as well. It'll not be as heavy a hit right at the start.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It comes in much later now, and even with the cam, it revs out. I think it was set to about 5.5 to rev out to. So yeah, it should go to 6, but I think the last time it was set is a hard cut limiter on it, which I want rid of. I don't particularly like it. Yeah. What have we got else in here?
What about intercooler wise then?
Intercooler wise, with the S3 intercooler on it, that's more than enough for them. Um, it's good for 400, probably even more, 400 horsepower to be fair.
No, you're laughing.
Um, yeah, it's fine. And even the injectors that I have the Farad 120s, so
Hmm.
it's good for 400 maybe plus. So um, I'm actually debating maybe seeing what way she runs. If I maybe drop it down to one or the 80s to try and obviously get it a wee bit less smoky.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously with the 120s, there's a lot of unburnt fuel there, but
Yeah, your recent post there on Instagram, was it maybe 2 or 3 posts ago when you're on the dyno, and there was just
yeah,
like a massive black cloud behind it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's not great for daily driving or anything. So it's something I need to address as such. So
but it's also something you
well,
can take out and enjoy occasionally too. You know, it's not like I think daily in that car would be like any other high end car. It's just going to ruin it.
yeah, yeah. It it does get quite a lot of use when it is out and about, and it does get pushed on, but it
Yeah, I don't think you'd be annoyed if I said that it's a car that gets used and abused. It gets it's built for a purpose, and it'll do shows, it'll do track, and it does both well.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Um, you had this at Santa Pod, didn't you?
Yeah, Santa Pod. Um, that was, I think, a time towards the end where the gearbox actually was going. I think she pulled a 13.8 at that day. That was a number of years ago.
Yeah, that was when it
Um,
was still white, I think, wasn't it?
yes, yeah, 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 yeah.
Excellent.
It's always a good weekend going to Santa Pod and then over to Edition. It's even
Yeah,
just
we did that
seeing.
a few years back, and of course, the day we went to Santa Pod, I was really excited because even just I had the VR6 and it's not overly quick, but I just wanted to say I'd run down Santa Pod, and it rained and rained, and then it would go off for a bit, and they're like, "Oh, we'll start drying the track," and they dried the track for 10 minutes. Next thing, it rained again. I was like, "I'm never getting this done," and of course, didn't.
Yeah.
So I got a few nice photos, and that was about it. Um, it was that was all I was going to get out of it. So
Yeah, it's always a hit or miss. Hopefully, if the weather's with you, it's great. If it's not,
yeah.
yeah,
How did you find it on the track? You know, Santa Pod's a prep track, isn't it?
yeah. Well, to be fair, it's quite sticky.
Hmm.
Um, and I didn't have proper race wheels on at the time. It was probably one of the first drag strips we had went down with this.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it was sort of a learning experience for myself. But I mean, the fun just belting it down that track was great fun.
Yeah,
Um,
because I'm sure it's, you know, the amount of times you drive the car and you'd never stall it, and sure to God, you get in that track and there's 1,000 people watching you and you're going to stall it, or that's always in your head. You know, it can't be, it's bound to be unnerving kind of thing, even though you've
y-
driven the car for a long time.
yeah, I mean, waiting for the green light, and you have competition beside you if you want to race it or not. It's just a different sort of thrill.
Yeah,
Um, it's good, and then obviously the spectators get the enjoyment. If you mess it up, you mess it up, or if you get a good one, you know, you
I'm
get a
sure.
good one.
I'm sure the guys on the line appreciated you taking off in a cloud of smoke as well.
Yeah, I mean the first run down, and then you get the cloud of smoke. It's always a talking point as such.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a whole lot of diesels. I think Darkside Developments were over when we were there, and they had the Arosa, I think it was, with it was a PD 130 or 160 they had in it on nitrous, and it was an animal of a thing.
Yes, yes. The yellow one was it?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know the guys over at Dark Side, and they've helped a lot in bits and pieces of this build as well. But I mean, they're running. They're all absolutely
that's a different league.
phenomenal. Yeah, absolutely.
Um, I see Nigel saying there his old black Mark 5 GTI done a 14.3 with an intake, decat, exhaust, and map on it. So what did you do, a 13 something?
13.8, I think.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it just shows how quick it is because that spec on a GTI is it's not a slow car.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And I would love, hopefully, when things clear up with the coronavirus and stuff, actually get it properly set up, tires and everything, and actually get a good run on it. standard pod and see what it actually can pull, especially with a bit more power now. So,
Yeah, get out and use it properly.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Excellent. And actually, I meant to ask you before, because this car appeared at Dubshed at, I guess, maybe 2016, randomly one day, and it had a colour change, and I was like, is that Bert's car? What the hell? And what was the inspiration for the colour change? Was it just something you took a notion for, or did you really want to do it? Or
white was never my original colour for the car.
Okay.
And then obviously with it being white, with the smoke, it actually started to stain the paint.
Right.
So that forced me to do a colour change, and so hence where we're at now.
Smoky
So
grey.
yeah, smoky grey.
Funny, when I shared this that we were going to do this earlier on, a friend of mine, Jerry, he messaged me to say, ask him did he paint the car grey to hide the smoke. So yeah, he might have been joking, but you weren't. It was true.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's another reason I don't want it to start staining this paint as such. I'm not sure if it's a matte lacquer being porous or anything. But we'll need to just keep an eye on it in that stage. So
Yeah, you're definitely less likely to see it as well.
yeah, oh no, absolutely.
Just another thing coming in my head, what exhaust are you running on it? Is it like a Miltech for a GTI, or is it a custom thing?
It was a custom. It's 3 inch the whole way back. From the turbo, the whole way is 3 inch.
Zero
Um,
restrictions.
Zero. Well, actually, I've one. That piece there should be in it, but
Okay.
that is obviously for my cat. So
Yeah.
I have a cat in it at the minute, and it's still bellowing out excess smoke. So
Are you going to run it with the cat, or are you going to decat it?
we'll see. Noise wise, it's already very, very loud. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Um,
Because that's one thing I
um,
always noticed about tuning diesels, even with an exhaust, they weren't overly loud, but obviously this thing is. There's a lot more work done to it than a normal TDI.
yeah, it basically sounds of a tractor with a straight pipe. That's it. I mean, that's all it is.
What kind of countryman wants?
And even with the diesel, I have the VF engineering engine mounts on a VW what are the solid dog bone mount,
Yeah.
and there's not 1 inch of movement in that engine.
Yeah. Do
When
you feel
you're
it?
Oh yes, when that sits and idles, all you do is shake. It
Lovely.
it's very very strange feeling, but it helps pull down the power as such.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's it. There's no point in building it and then struggling with it.
no, definitely not.
And what about drive shafts at that kind of power? Are you having any difficulty with that?
No, they're good. They're the thick 2 liter 6 speed drive shafts. No issue with them so far. Touch wood. Just really the gearbox. Sometimes synchros on bits and pieces. So we'll see. Hopefully, I can. That's probably the weakest section of it. The gearbox and the rods. So
And
the rods are easy fixed. Gearbox might be a very expensive fix.
I was going to say, yeah, like if it's not giving you like repetitive issues, if it's something that's once in a while and you have a spare box sitting, it'd probably be better just to have a spare box than to dump X amount of thousands into it to future-proof it. It might still break.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing. Like there's 2 engines sitting over there on a number of different pieces. So engine wise is fine. I want to build. There can be obviously 2 engines always sitting for this, but the gearbox is always the biggest issue because of the wave track diff as well in it. It's hard to always have a spare gearbox. You'd probably have to have one without it and one with.
True,
So
actually, I never thought of that, yeah.
yeah, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Hopefully you don't come to it.
Hopefully not. But it's always in the back of my mind.
But
Um,
upgrading parts like that, you're always chasing something, because when you take something out of being the weak link, it just moves it along to something else. Something's
yeah,
always live.
no, absolutely, absolutely.
Have you
But
considered four-wheel driving it?
actually, yes.
Might
I've,
have.
I've, yeah, yeah. It's always there as an option. Um, I don't know. It's maybe something that might happen down the line.
Hmm.
Um, this car will never be sold. It'll always be here.
I kind of got an
So
impression about it before.
yeah, I mean, we'll see. It might happen, might not.
Yeah,
If the right kit comes up and bits and pieces and parts are there, it might get grabbed. Otherwise, we'll see what happens.
yeah. It would definitely would help you with traction problems, especially with the diesel.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. My only fear is if you four wheel drive it, you'd have to compensate and put a wee bit more power in for the weight.
Fair enough. Yeah, yeah.
But for drivability of it, it would definitely help it, and it would be so much fun as well with the four wheel drive, keeping it
Funny.
planted all the time.
I noticed that in the Bora. My Bora's four-wheel drive, and like when you look up the spec of it and even drive a standard, even a diesel one, there's some weight in it. Like the whole system weighs a couple of 100 kilos more.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I mean that idea of mine behind it's four wheel drive, and it gets used for quite a lot of towing. But even driving it, I think it's around the 300, 280, 300 brake horsepower mark on
Hmm.
four wheel drive. But it just keeps the power going the whole time.
Yeah.
There's no issues with that.
What about
So
in the boot of the Mark 5? You still got the boot build?
yes. Bear with me a second. Put a bit of power in this thing.
Yeah.
Get it open.
Oh, it's on the popper.
It's on the popper. Let me see.
There we go. More leather
Yeah,
as well.
more leather around the back, bits and pieces. And then I only kept for a wee simple build in here.
Yeah,
So the tank, same color, on a bit of black leather and
very
stuff
nice.
there. So
See four hard lines there as well, is it?
yeah, see, yeah, 4 hard lines, and then we red connectors as such. So it's just
No, it looks good.
pretty
It's
straightforward.
functional, but looks good too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's show purpose as well, but I like to keep its its function sort of, more so than
Yeah,
um,
yeah. If you want to go to a show across the
it's
water, you can still throw your stuff in the boot and away you go.
yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's usable,
Yeah.
um, but it's just a different type of usable, right? So, but
So, any future plans then coming up? Just what you mentioned before, get it running right and try and get use out of it.
yeah, well, hopefully tomorrow we'll be a step closer. We're getting it running right. The wheels will be built. Um, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, if I'm going to keep them polished or not. I'll need to address it, get them built and get them set up and see how they're actually sitting. Um, in terms of future plans, well, there's a couple of engines around the corner there. Maybe get them built. Um, um, I know there's a different spec of turbo, which which might happen. Obviously, it might be a bit more power, but we'll see. If I get the pipes and stuff tidied up in the engine, um, go from there. Just tidy things up at the minute,
Very good.
and then
Yeah. It's
see how
again,
see what
I keep
happens.
saying it's like myself. You just keep refining it and just keep ticking away at it. I see Mark saying there, but the Ducati. Can you give him a shot of the Ducati? Oh, Robin's asking
Oh,
too.
the caddy. Aye, had it out, so it's sitting there. The caddy's sitting there.
Very nice.
It's
What is
a
it? I like my
it's a
bikes, not into sports bikes, so I wouldn't know.
it's a 848 Ducati 848. So it's
Very nice.
it's
All
a
I
bit of
know
a
of Ducatis is they're very rattly clutch.
that's very true. Yeah,
You hear
it's
them
a bit of
coming
a
a mile away.
weapon.
I
So
imagine it's quick.
oh, it's very quick. Yeah, I mean, uh, if you want something fast, get a bike. But
Yeah, I've always said that. I've had bikes when I was 17, and even old choppers and stuff like that, and two-cylinder things, they're always going to be quicker than most cars. And
oh yeah,
it,
yeah.
I was never into having any cars, like even up to my mid-20s, anything relatively fast, because I always had the bike, you just get onto it and you'll always go quicker.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, it's it was something that I never really thought of a bike, and then a number of years ago, seen one, picked it up, got the license, and you know that's what it is. But
Is
maybe
it
have a
is,
few.
is the
Sorry,
front
come.
end dropped, or is it because it's up on the paddock stand at the back?
No, that's actually the way they sit.
Oh, really?
If
It looks
it's a
stable.
little, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's nearly the same color as the Golf,
Okay.
um, but it does sit quite low. Um, but there's a few wee tweaks I want to make with that, with the rear spring, get it handling a wee bit better. But
Very
it's
nice.
yeah, it's good. It's fun.
How long have you had that?
Ooh, 3 or 4 years, I think now.
Excellent. Now you get the
Yeah,
use out of it then.
yeah, fuck yeah. To be fair, it's parked up more than it's being used, but it
I nearly killed that pigeon there.
yeah,
Uh, and have you got the Mark II sitting in you talked about?
yeah, yeah. There's my daily.
Cool.
Excuse that.
Would you call it all?
Another Mark 5.
I assume a diesel too.
Oh yes, GT. So if I ever want to upgrade the engine to a 2 liter, I'll just rip it out of that.
Excellent.
So we Mark 2. It's looking a wee bit sorry for itself, um, outside, but it we'll hopefully get working on that soon.
Mhm.
It's
You've had this a number of years now, haven't you?
oh geez, I don't even know when I got this. Um,
Would
geez,
it
I
go
don't know.
probably back in the days of the NI Euro forums?
I think it was a wee bit after that, maybe the tail end.
That's a
Um,
long time ago, like.
yeah, it's
And
sort
is
of
this
been
is this a GTI?
no, it's a wee 1.6 driver,
Right.
1990, I think.
Hmm.
Um, um, there's not a big pile done to it as such. Coilovers, and I picked up a set. I think they're wrap Borbits,
Uh-huh.
but it'll hopefully get a bit of work. As you can see, there's bits and pieces and there's chairs and everything in the interior and stuff. But
I've never seen it myself.
it's always nice. It's one of these cars, you drive in the driveway and it's sitting there, and it's just I love looking at it. It's
Yeah.
so hopefully it'll get a bit of attention. Um, we'll make something of it.
The
So
the best of that is as well, though, they're getting harder to get. So the fact that you have it, even if you're not going to work on it for a while, it's that's half the battle is getting it and getting a good one. You have it and you know what you have.
yeah, oh no, yeah, I know there's a few bits and pieces where it needs welded,
Hmm.
so it'll be addressed. But as
Yeah,
you
it's a
say, it's
30-year-old
sitting
car.
there. What? Sorry.
It's a 30-year-old car. It's always going to need
Oh,
something.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
See, Nigel
It's
said my heart's racing because I'm thinking of buying another Mark II. I love my old two back, but I did approach it, but it didn't. I kind of got turned down, but I don't know what's happening. But I'll come back to it at some
yeah,
point. It's a one
it's
thing I don't need, but I would like.
yeah.
And
Look, it's yeah.
would you go TDI in this, or would you go for something different?
To be honest, I haven't even thought that far. All that's in my head at the minute is to get it stripped, get it back to the bare metal, get anything welded that needs welded, and fully restore it. The
Uh-huh.
engine, the V1.6 driver will never be back in it.
Okay.
Um, I don't think it'll go diesel. I would rather something petrol in it,
Yeah.
something quick, or it'll stay as a fully rolling shell with nothing in it until I make
Mhm.
my mind up. But um, we'll we'll see what happens. It's
Yeah.
just something.
That's a bit like my Mark One. I bought off toner the shell. It's still from I got it. I haven't touched it, but I've been gathering up parts for it, and I don't really know what direction I'm going to go with it. But the fact that I have it there is half the battle.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Because I'll really enjoy taking this down to the bare metal and restoring it. Something that will take a lot of time, but we'll have so much enjoyment out of it because that's just the older Mark II.
And they're simple to work on compared to the likes of the Mark 5.
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
But no, you're very much a builder though. You're going to get the enjoyment out of that as much as you are driving it.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it every time I rock up here, it's just sitting there, and even just sitting looking at it, walking past it, that's enough because
makes you smile.
Yeah, I mean I always loved the shape of the Mark IIs.
They're timeless.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you and Lucinda were building a car. Was it her wee Polo, the silver one?
Yes. Funny story.
Whatever happened to it?
I wrote it off.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But you still married it?
Yeah, I know. It's probably in the back of her head going, what is this fuck Egypt going to do next? You know? So I always liked it as a wee 1.4 TDI. It was easy work that. A good strong car. But it met its end, so yeah.
Lovely.
I replaced that.
It was satin silver as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually it was the standard reflex silver and then just with a matte lacquer on top of it.
Yeah, I always liked it.
Yeah, it was straightforward. It was simple.
I'm sure Lucinda liked it
too. Yeah, she loved that wee car. Yeah.
You're a bad man.
I know, but sure.
It ended well anyway.
No, absolutely. Got a few £100 for it, so.
There, you'll not get it in scrap at the minute. The scrap's away to nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you get nothing at the minute. I've 4 cars to go, I think, and I'm just going to blow them out because I want rid of them. I want the space, but I'm not going to get anything at all. No diesel engines for you, unfortunately. Well, actually, there is. There's a 2.5 litre V6 Audi engine, but you don't want that. They're crap.
No.
Nobody wants that. Yeah, well, Bert, thank you very much. That was great. I really enjoyed that because it's a car that I haven't seen in literally years. And I know you've been posting bits about it and I've been messaging you about it, so it's good to get a walk around of it. Yeah,
there's probably a lot missed off it, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's a Golf, it's a diesel. I mean, it's running far too much power than what it's meant to be. But sure, it's fun. It's fun building it, and we'll get on to the Golf another time, Mark II, and I'm sure there'll be other projects.
Yeah, well, so we can keep up with you on your Instagram anyway and see what's happening.
Absolutely. I mean, what you are doing with the reload is great. The podcasts, even listening it, bits and pieces, you can listen to them a number of times. It's a fantastic job what you guys are doing.
Appreciate it, thank you. Oh, it's good. I listen to a lot of podcasts myself and I'd avoided them for years, and it's something I just go into the workshop, stick them on, or if I'm in work and no one's around, stick it on, just zone out. It's good.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We sort of picked them up when we were traveling. It was something I never really got into, so it was great, and hopefully keep them up and keep listening to them now. So
lovely. Thank you very much. Well, sure, I'll let you go. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks very much.
See ya.
Take it easy. Bye.
So that was Bert and his, I will admit, awesome TDI Mark 5, which is something you won't normally hear me say, but it is really cool. Father's Day is coming up. If anybody wants to check out the Reload Global website, there's offers on for Father's Day, and there's a discount code of POD15. If you want to check out, when you're checking out, you can stick that in, you'll get a bit of discount as well. As I said at the start, latest podcast dropped today. We'll promote it tomorrow. It's about cars that were kind of built in secret, stuff that was kind of kept from the upper management within big manufacturers, Volkswagen, Ford, BMW, and stuff that didn't make it to the market. So if you want to check that out as well, that'd be great. Thanks for your time. See you later.